there are some pins available which are called the interrupt pin of the processor. You have seen RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, INTR and TRAP. These are the interrupt pins available for 8085 processor. And there I told you that the meaning of interruption is nothing but it is a process. Process of what? Using this process, any peripheral device or external device can interrupt the activity of the processor. That is the main purpose. Processor is doing something. Doing something means processor can only execute some program. So suppose processor is presently doing or executing some program. In between, externally, if anybody wants to interrupt the activity of the processor, he can take help of the interruption process available in 8085 processor. Here I also told you what is the purpose of interrupt. Also I told you why we will intentionally why processor is executing a program. Why externally we will try to interrupt its activity. There, by taking an example, I have told you that we will interrupt externally to the processor only if we find that there are some emergency work is left to the processor. That is what processor is presently doing. There are some emergency work which processor has to do. During that time only, we will interrupt the processor so that whatever processor is presently doing, we will stop this activity and we will attend or we will execute a program or you will do the work to attend this emergency or any urgent work. That is the purpose. Because if we take an example, suppose this processor is continuously executing a program to monitor a system. In that system, suppose fire occurs, then what to do? Definitely, processor will not continuously executing its work again if it finds there is a fire. Because I have told you that in place of processor, you imagine yourself and think what you should do. Suppose you are monitoring a system, continuously monitoring, and you find that there is a fire in the system. So whether without taking any action to remove the fire, whether you will go on watching what this system is or how the system is running, no, you should not. If you find there is a fire, what you should do? You should stop what you are doing presently, but you should not stop your entire activity. After closing the present activity of you will take action so that fire should be removed. Interruption process is same for 8085 processor also. If in place of you processors are suppose monitoring a system or an automated system, if in that system processor, if you find that what processor is presently during that time an emergency occurs, suppose fire occurs, so you must interrupt the processor so that processor should stop its present execution and he should take an action so that this fire should be removed. Meaning is interruption means it is not that processor will entirely close his all activity. No. Interruption means after interruption, processor will only close the present activity. Means whatever he is executing during that time, that program will be closed. But after closing that program, processor will execute some other program to remove the abnormality of whatever is generated in that system. That is the interruption mechanism. In 8085, whatever pins are there, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, TRAP, INTR, so many interrupt pins are there. These pins are basically there so that through this pin, any external device will inform the processor that he wants to interrupt the processor. Because there is an emergency, you want to interrupt the processor, but how processor will know that you are trying to interrupt the processor? For that purpose, these pins are given. To any one of these pins, if you send a logic 1 through a particular pin, RST 7.5, suppose, processor will understand somebody is trying to interrupt him using RST 7.5. Then what processor will do, after getting the interruption request from through RST 7.5 pin, whatever presently processor is doing, he will stop this activity. And after closing the activity, the purpose for which you have interrupted the processor will execute that program to remove the abnormality of the system. Now today we will discuss how processor will after getting interrupt signal, after closing the main program, how processor will execute some other program to remove the abnormality of the system. And of course, after removing the abnormality of the system, processor will again come back to its own work. That means it will again start executing the original program which he has continuously executed. That thing he will do. So now we will discuss in detail that how processor will execute this thing. So let me present. If the presentation is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now whatever I told you, it is written in this presentation also, that interrupt is a process where external device can get the attention of the microprocessor. This is the basic meaning. Meaning is that using this process, you can send a request to the processor so that processor will get the attention of you. Attention of you means you have definitely interrupt the processor because you have some emergency work to do. Emergency work to do means who will do it? Processor will do. So that you have informed the processor through the interrupt pins. After getting your interrupt request, processor will close its present activity and then he will execute the program to remove your abnormality for which you have interrupted the processor. And it is mentioned this process starts from the IO device because you have to first send a request signal to the processor through any one of the interrupt pin RST 7.5, 6.5, etc. To any one of the pin, you have to send the request. That means you means external device. That's why it is mentioned the process starts from the IO device. And in 8085 processor, it is mentioned two types of interrupts are available. One is called software interrupt, other is called hardware interrupt. Because if you see the in hardware interrupt, I have given the name of the hardware interrupt: TRAP, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, and INTR. These, by the name of this interrupt, some pins are already available in 8085. TRAP pin is there, RST 7.5 pin is there, INTR pin is there. But in case of software interrupt, you can see 8 software interrupts are available in 8085 processor. They are RST called their RST0 to RST7. It's RST0, RST1, RST2 up to RST7. 8 software interrupt. But you have not find any, if you see the pin configuration of 8085 processor, you cannot find any pin which is labeled as RST0 or RST7. Only interrupt pins available for TRAP, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and INTR. So what is the difference between this software and hardware interrupt? Hardware interrupt means for those interrupt, there is a dedicated pin in 8085 processor. And it means software and hardware interrupt means by using any one of the interrupt, any IO device can interrupt the processor because your task is that how you will interrupt the processor. So many options are available. One option is software. By using, you can interrupt the processor using software interrupt, or you can interrupt the processor using hardware interrupt. Again, if you think you will interrupt the processor using hardware interrupt, again different facilities are available, options are available. You can interrupt the processor using TRAP, or you can interrupt the processor through RST 7.5 pin, 6.5, 5.5 or INTR. Similarly, if anybody thinks that no, I will interrupt the processor using software interrupt, then to him 8 options are available. He can interrupt the processor by using any one of the software interrupt available from RST0 to RST7. That means these are the options available. In case of hardware interrupt, there are some, for all these hardware interrupt, a dedicated hardware pin is available in 8085 microprocessor chip. So, and if anybody wants to interrupt the processor using hardware, any of one of the hardware interrupt, only thing what he has to do, he has to send a signal, logic 1 signal to any one of the hardware interrupt pin of the processor. Only that much he has to do, nothing else. Means, if I think that I will interrupt the processor using RST 7.5, now what I should do? I should only send a logic 1 through the RST 7.5 pin of the processor. Then only processor will be interrupted. Interrupted means it will stop its present activity and it will execute some other program to remove the abnormality. That is the process. How that will describe just today. But before that, if you only have, whenever I discuss the hardware interrupt, whenever you have been told use of hardware interrupt, then you should know the process of executing hardware interrupt. If you want to execute hardware interrupt, just send a logic 1 to any one of the pin of hardware, any 8085, hardware interrupt available, then processor will be interrupted. But what is software interrupt? 8 software interrupts are there from RST0 to RST7. But for RS software interrupt, there is no dedicated pin in 8085 processor. Then why it is called software interrupt? This RST0 to RST7, they are nothing but they are 8 different instructions of 8085 processor. Like add B, MOV, A, B, you know, they are the instruction of 8085 processor. Similarly, RST0, RST1, RST7, they are not the pin of 8085 processor. They are each of them are the instruction or one of the instruction of 8085 processor. Meaning is, if I think that I will interrupt the processor using RST0, then what to do? Processor has to execute the RST0 instruction for interruption. But that is not the case for hardware interrupt. For hardware, that is why it is called hardware and that is called software interrupt. Hardware interrupt means processor is not required to be executed any instruction. Only send a logic 1 through the pin, processor will be interrupted. But if you think that you will interrupt using software interrupt, then you have to, or your processor have to execute a code of that particular software interrupt, RST0 to RST7, any one. The processor has to execute the software code of that instruction. That's why they are called software interrupt. And both facilities are there, software interrupt as well as hardware interrupt. Now we will discuss how first we will discuss how processor will be interrupted using software interrupt. Then we will discuss how processor will be interrupted using hardware interrupt. And here regarding interrupt, some information has been given. And it is mentioned that an interrupt is considered to be an emergency signal. As I already told you, that processor is executing a program. Why we will intentionally interrupt its activity? Only we will interrupt the activity of the processor if we find there are some emergency work left for the processor. So that processor should stop its present activity and attend this emergency activity to remove this abnormality. That's why it is treated as emergency signal. Means there is emergency occurred, so you have interrupted the means or any peripheral device has interrupted the processor. So processor will stop its present activity and attend that emergency. And here another thing is written in the second point: when the microprocessor receives an interrupt signal, it suspends the currently executing program. That I already told you that when processor is getting an interrupt signal, it will stop executing its present activity. See, present activity means it is executing a program. It will be stopped. But there I told you interruption means that it is not that entire activity of the processor will be stopped. No, it will stop only the current activity. But after closing the current activity, it is mentioned it will jump to an interrupt service routine, ISR. It will jump to an interrupt service routine to respond to the incoming interrupt. To respond to the incoming interrupt means you have interrupted the processor for some emergency, to remove the emergency. Suppose there is a fire, emergency occurred. So how processor will remove the emergency? Definitely processor only can remove any emergency or remove the fire or anything only he can do only by executing some program. That means to remove fire, definitely a program you have to on some pump you have to on. How processor will on the pump? Definitely by executing some program. And that program suppose is written in another subroutine. Subroutine means it is written in a separate place on separate memory. Now whenever you interrupt the processor will stop its active present program and it will jump to this subroutine so that this subroutine will be executed and pump will be on and fire will be extinguished. That is the mechanism. That is meaning is after closing the current activity, it will jump to the subroutine. And as this subroutine, processor will jump to the subroutine after getting an interrupt. That subroutine is given a special name, which is called interrupt service routine, ISR. ISR is nothing but it is a subroutine or subprogram. Whatever you have already learned, that subprogram, it is that kind of subprogram. But processor is going to this subprogram after getting an interrupt signal. That's why this subprogram is giving a name interrupt service routine. Okay. So after getting an interrupt signal, stop the present activity and processor will jump to the interrupt service routine to remove the abnormality or to attain the emergency. Okay. Now we will discuss in detail how 8085 processor will be interrupted using the software interrupt. Okay. Now, out of this hardware interrupt which is available, the interrupt pins TRAP, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, and INTR. Now, first thing is that whenever, in case of software interrupt, if somebody wants to interrupt the processor using software interrupt, it involves two steps. What is the two step? As it is a software interrupt, I have already told you, if processor will be interrupted using software interrupt only after executing the corresponding instruction like RST0, RST1 like that, because these software interrupt are nothing but one instruction. So if processor will be interrupted only after executing that instruction, nothing else. But before that I told you software interrupt involves two steps. First step is that if any peripheral device wants to interrupt the processor using software interrupt, first he should send a request signal. Then the second process is after sending the request signal, processor must execute the code of that software interrupt. Then only processor will be interrupted. But that is not the process for hardware interrupt. Because for hardware interrupt, this involves only one step. What is the one step? You just send a request signal through the pin, processor will be interrupted. That is the process. But for software interrupt, one additional process is involved. After sending the request signal, processor has to execute the code of that particular software interrupt from RST0 to RST7. Then only processor will be interrupted. So remember, for software interrupt, two steps involved. One is the device, any IO device wants to interrupt the processor, he should send a request signal first. After that, processor should execute the code of the software interrupt, and then only processor will be interrupted using that particular software interrupt. Now the question is, if I want to interrupt the processor using software interrupt, how I will send a request signal to the processor? Because for those software interrupt RST0 to RST7, they are not the pin of the 8085 processor, they are the instruction. So then where I should send the request signal to the processor? And in 8085 processor, for activity for getting this processor interrupted using software interrupt, there is a pin which is labeled as INTR in 8085 processor. That pin should be used to send the request signal to the processor. Not TRAP, RST 7.5, 6.5 or 5.5. So INTR pin will be used, or through INTR pin, any peripheral device should send a request signal if he wants to interrupt the processor using software interrupt. Because again, think software interrupt involves two steps. First is send a request signal to the processor, then execute the code of the software interrupt. First issue is where I should send the request signal. Solution is you have to send the request signal only in the INTR pin of the 8085 processor. That means through INTR pin, you send a logic 1 to to the processor. So whenever processor will say get INTR equal to 1, processor will understand somebody is trying to interrupt the processor using software interrupt. So whenever processor try to understand, what processor will understand when he get INTR equal to 1. Whenever processor will get 1 in the INTR pin, processor will understand that somebody is trying to interrupt the processor using a software interrupt. Okay, that it will be clear. But before that, another issue is there for the interruption service to be enabled. In 8085 processor, there is a flip-flop which is called interrupt enable flip-flop. To get this interruption facility on, that flip-flop must be enabled. Otherwise, interruption facility will be disabled. And to enable this interrupt enable flip-flop, two instructions are available like move and two instructions are there. One is EI for enabling this flip-flop and another instruction is DI, one byte instruction with no operand. DI is disable interrupt. So you remember two additional instruction is available in 8085 processor. One is EI, another is DI. EI is the instruction to enable the interrupt enable flip-flop. Meaning is once you execute the EI instruction, means you are enabling this interruption facility in 8085 processor. At any time, if you think that no, I will entirely disable this interruption facility, then you should execute or your processor should execute a DI instruction. DI means disable interrupt. Means this flip-flop will be disabled. So if it is disabled, then now if you send INTR equal to 1, processor will not be interrupted. So that's why to enable the interruption process, you first execute a EI instruction so that that flip-flop will be in the enabled state. Now in the second step it is written, the 8085 checks and interrupt during the execution of every instruction. Checks and interrupt means checks and interrupt through which pin? INTR pin. I have forgot to write here the INTR pin. So 8085, because software interruption involve two steps. One is, first step is you have to send a request signal to INTR pin. That's why it is mentioned in the second step that 8085 processor, whenever he is executing his main program, every time he will check whether any one is coming to the INTR pin or not. That he will check. Because you have executed EI instruction, means interruption facility is on. So anytime anybody can interrupt the processor. So how processor will understand? That's why after completing the execution of every instruction in your main program, every time processor will check the INTR pin, whether 1 is coming or 0 is coming. If 1 is coming in the third step, it is mentioned, if there is an interrupt, means if 1 is coming to the INTR pin, the microprocessor will complete the execution of that instruction. Meaning is that suppose your program is containing so many instructions. Before the execution of MOV, suppose there is instruction MOV A, B. Before execution of every instruction, processor will check whether INTR is coming as 1 or not. So suppose there is instruction MOV A, B, but before executing this MOV A, B, it will check, processor will check whether he is getting INTR equal to 1 or not. Suppose he is finding that somebody has sent a 1 to the INTR equal to INTR pin. Now the question is whether this instruction MOV A, B processor will execute or it will be stopped. The mechanism of 8085 is that it will first complete the execution of that instruction. And after executing that instruction, now processor will close its main program. Means it will stop executing the main program and start a restart sequence. Restart sequence means after closing the main program, he will go to execute some other program for which you have interrupted it. Okay. So now in the fourth step, it is mentioned what are the restart sequence that is mentioned in the consecutive step. If you see that in 8085 processor, in INTR there is a pin and there is a pin INTA bar. INTA bar pin is also there in 8085 processor, and there whenever I discuss pin configuration, I have told you INTA bar is basically the acknowledgement pin of INTR. Means through INTR somebody is sending 1 for interrupting the processor using software interrupt. After getting 1, if processor thinks that, or actually processor thinks that yes, you will accept the request, then how external device will know that your request for interruption has been granted by the processor? Then automatically processor will generate a zero through the INTA bar pin, interrupt acknowledge pin, so that externally by looking that INTA bar is generating as zero, you will understand that yes, your request has been generated or a request granted. That is the sequence. So again, I want to summarize that how processor you will be able to interrupt the processor using software interrupt. It involves two steps: send a request, then execute the processor should execute the code of that particular software interrupt. Let's assume out of 8 software interrupts, you think that you will interrupt the processor using RST5. Okay. You select any one and think that you will interrupt using RST5. Now, what is the process? To enable the interruption process, you must or your processor must execute or you should use a EI instruction to enable the interruption facility. Every time then processor will execute the main instruction of main program. He will check the INTR pin. If he finds INTR equal to 1, he will complete the execution of that particular instruction and then close the main program. After closing the main program, what he will do? He will generate, that means he is closing the main program means he is accepting your request to INTR pin. Once he accepts the request to INTR equal to 1, processor will generate INTA bar equal to 0 through this INTA bar pin. That means INTA bar 0 whenever you are getting, that means you will understand your request through INTR equal to 1 has been granted by the processor. Now think, after up to this state, whether processor is actually interruption process is completed or not. It is not completed. Because software interrupts, I told you, involve two steps. First is send request, then processor should execute the code of RST5 if you think that you will interrupt the processor using RST5. Now my question is, how the processor will get that code of RST5? Because you have sent a request to INTR pin, it has been granted. Processor has generated the INTA bar equal to 0. Means your request is granted. So send request signal is completed. Next issue is, after sending the request, second step for software interrupt is processor must execute the code of RST5. Now my question is, how processor will get the code of that RST5? Actually, because this RST5 code you cannot write inside your program. Because if you write RST5 inside your main program, meaning is every time this instruction is executed, processor will be interrupted. You can write in the main program this RST5 instruction directly after MOV A, B, you have written RST5. Meaning is every time this RST5 is executed, processor will be interrupted. Whether the interruption is required, emergency arises or does not arise, every time processor will be interrupted. So you do not want this. You want that processor should execute RST5 only when emergency occurred. So that's why it is not possible for a user or a programmer to write the RST5 instruction directly in the main program, so that processor will execute this instruction. That's why this mechanism is chosen. You send a request to INTR pin. If processor grants your request, it will send an INTA bar equal to 0. Now, second step is processor has to execute the code of RST5. Issue is how processor will get the code of RST5. If you have not written it inside your main program, then how processor will get this code of RST5? And it is mentioned the solution is processor will not, or if you cannot write this RST5 instruction inside the main program, you have to supply the code of this particular software externally by using a suitable hardware. Means processor will not get this RST5 code from this main program. Externally, you have to supply the code of RST5 to the processor data bus. That you have to supply. That's why in this, how it will be supplied by drawing picture, I will show you. That's why it is in step 5 it is written. After receiving INTA bar signal, the interrupting device is expected to return the opcode of one of the 8 RST instructions. Meaning is, after INTA bar is 0, Now, second step is processor should execute the code of that particular software interrupt. In that case, suppose in our case we have chosen RST5. So it is processor is expecting that the interrupting device will supply the opcode of RST5 to the processor. That interrupting device will only supply the code of RST5 to the processor. Processor will not get the code from the main program. External device will supply the code of RST5 to the processor, so that processor will execute that instruction, and now the actual interruption process will happen, sending request as well as execution of the corresponding RST instruction. So this RST, now in step 6 it is mentioned, when after getting this opcode of RST instruction, it is mentioned when the microprocessor execute this RST instruction received from the device, it saves the address of the next instruction on the stack. Because I have told you that after closing the main program, it will jump to a subroutine which is called interrupt service routine. That operation will be just like calling subroutine. Because after executing this ISR, means subroutine, again it will come back to the main program in the exact location from where he has entered into the service routine. So how it will return back? That's why whenever processor will execute this RST instruction after getting the code, it will save the address of the next instruction just like call instruction into the stack. So that from stack processor will get the return address after completing the service routine. And then after storing the return address in the stack, it will jump to the appropriate service routine. Appropriate service routine means where this service routine is written. Now you may ask, how processor will get the address of that service routine? So that processor will not get it is fixed for every interrupt. I will show you the table after that. The seventh step it is mentioned, the service routine must include the instruction EI to enable or re-enable the interrupt process. Meaning is, once it enters into the service routine, it is the process of 8085 processor that automatically that interrupt enable flip-flop will go to the disable state. Because I have told you, the first step of this software interrupt is in the main program, you must have to use a EI instruction so that it will enable the interruption process. Now, after getting interrupt for the first time or any time, whenever processor is going to execute a interrupt service routine, by default, this flip-flop will be automatically disabled. And after, that's why it is mentioned, after completing the service routine, whenever processor will again come back to the main program, before coming back to the main program, you must include a EI instruction at the very end of your subprogram or interrupt service routine, so that again that interrupt enable flip-flop is kept into the enable state and you return back to the main program. And how you will return back to the main program? Of course, like your subroutine, you should have a RET instruction at the end of your interrupt service routine. So issue process is, I'll briefly show you by drawing a diagram, then it will be clear. But remember, the process is send a request signal. If you want to interrupt using software in any one of the software interrupt, you send a request through INTR pin. But before that, in the main program, you must use a EI instruction to enable the interruption facility. So whenever processor is getting INTR equal to 1, it will stop the after completing the execution of present instruction, it will close the main program. And after closing the main program, it will generate INTA bar equal to 0. Meaning is, it is informing you that your request has been granted. Now, whenever your request is granted, now interruption is not completed because you have only sent a request. Another step you have to do, that your process, you have to supply the code, software code or opcode of this particular RST5 or RST any software interrupt. So how you will supply the RST code to the processor? Externally, you have to buy using suitable circuit. You should have supplied this code of RST5 to the processor. So whenever processor will get the code of RST5 from you, it will not get the code from program. It will get code from external device. Whenever it will be coming to the processor will execute it. Execute means now actually the processor is interrupted. means it will now go to the interrupt service routine to attend the emergency. But before going to the emergency interrupt service routine, just like call instruction, it will save the return address into the stack. And whenever processor will enter into the interrupt service routine, automatically the interrupt enable flip flop will be in the disabled state. You don't have to use the DI instruction. Automatically it will be disabled. And so after completing the service routine, means after removing the abnormality, when you will come back to the main program, you should again, before coming back from the service routine, you should use a EI instruction, means your so that again interruption facility will be enabled, and then return so that it will get the return address from the stack and it will come back to the exact location in the main program from where you have interrupted the processor. Now question is how, as I have told you, the code of this software interrupt using which you are interrupting the processor, you have to supply it externally. So is it possible for a manually to by a user to supply it out? You have to design a hardware to execute, or you have to design a hardware so that this hardware will supply the code of the respective software interrupt by which you want to use to interrupt the processor. Now again another thing here is mentioned in chapter at point number 6, that it will jump to the appropriate service routine after storing the return address into a stack. Where it will jump? Where I should write my service routine? Basically, for every software interrupt RST0 to RST7, there is a address fixed in the memory. Yes. If I interrupt using RST5, corresponding to RST5, a address is already fixed in 8085. For all interrupt, a address is fixed. That is called call location. But what this address means? Meaning is, suppose for RST5 the address is 0034. What does it mean? If somebody interrupt the processor using RST5, after closing the main program, processor will jump to the address 0034 to execute the ISR, means interrupt service routine. Meaning is, if you want to remove an abnormality using RST5, that abnormality removal program using RST5, you must have to write it from the address 0034, because processor will automatically jump to 0034 address for a RST5. So you should write your service routine starting from 0034. Similarly, for every software interrupt, a jump address is fixed. It means if you suppose for, I don't know the exact address, I will just show you. Suppose for RST7, the jump address is 0040. What is the meaning? Meaning is, if you think that you will interrupt the processor using RST7, the respective service routine you must start writing from 0040 address. Why? Because after interruption using RST7, processor will automatically jump to 0040 address to execute the ISR. So you must write your ISR at 0040. Now this is basically as I told you, these RST software interrupt RST0 to RST7, they are nothing but 8 instructions like MOV add instruction, and it is having 1 byte instruction, is having 1 byte code, and this code is written here hex code, and here hex code is expanded in binary. Actually, this is binary code D7 to D0. That they are same C7, and all location means this is the jump address which I told you it is fixed for every RST or every interrupt. For RST0, the jump location is 0000. For RST5, jump address is 0028. And for RST7, jump address is 0038. Meaning is, if processor is interrupted using suppose RST0, so after closing the main program, processor will jump to the address 0000. Means ISR corresponding to RST0, you must start writing at the address 0000. Similarly, if somebody interrupt using RST5, after interruption, processor will jump to 0028. So you must write your service routine at 0028. Now you may ask, if you see this call location address, you see for RST0, what is the address? 0000. And for the next RST instruction, RST1, what is the jump address? 0008. Now if I ask you, then to write your service routine for RST0, So because suppose you will interrupt using RST0. So where you should write your service routine starting from 0000. So my question is, how many register you will get to start your subprogram ISR for RST0?
8.
8, only 8, because 0008 is the jump address for RST1. So you have only 0002, 0007. That many number of register is given to write your ISR. But it is always you will find that using only one register, it is not possible to write your service routine. You need more. It happens. Then how you will write the subprogram there? Because you have only 8. Because for every interrupt, software interrupt RST0 to RST7, but in call location, if you see, there are gap of 8 registers. Only 8 registers. So in every address, between two address, always the gap is 8 number of registers. It's 8 address. So it is not possible to write your service routine using 8 registers because it may be a more number of registers are required. But how you will write it? So that's why. Uh,
Sir, call coin.
so that's why what or not call basically in this address a 0000 you just put a jump instruction and later actually you are using in laboratory you are using a simulator, that's why it is you are not able to understand. Basically if you find a microprocessor kit physically, you will find that this address here written 000000, that this address starts from 00. This address which starts from 00 is not accessible by the user. User means programmer who like you. You cannot write anything actually in this address. Why? Because if you see the kit later on, if you see there, you will find in that kit not only 8085 processor are there. There are keyboards are there, display device are there. That means with this microprocessor, so many peripheral devices are connected and they are operating in operating state. Why these devices are connected? You know, keyboard is an input device. This device is connected because you will be able to this keyboard. You will be able to supply some data, store some data in the memory, or supply some data. Our display device is given because processor may send some data to the output device so that you can see. Then question is, if I only connect a keyboard with 8085 processor, is it possible that from keyboard you will be supply data to the processor or you will be supply or store data in the memory? Is it possible? No. Because storing of data will be done by processor and processor can only perform a function if we execute a program. Instruction is required. That's why whenever a kit is designed, so many peripheral devices attached with this 8085. And the kit is available. And to work so that processor can effectively transfer data with this peripheral device, a program is already written. Who have designed this kit, he has already written some program so that this, and whenever I power on this kit, this program will be going on executing and entire peripheral device will be in an active state. So that means this kit is in a working state. So in the background, whenever you make the power on, in the background, basically those programs will be in an active state. Some programs are written, pre-written by the who have written the designed the kit. He has written it, and that program is stored. Where it is stored? Because you know that 8085 can support maximum 64K memory. And if you see the actual kit, there you will find in that chip, in that kit, you will never find a single memory chip with 64K. You will find there is two separate memory chips are connected. Two separate memory chip is connected, maybe 32K, 32K, or that like or 30 or 16K, 30 or 32K, anything, but not more than 64K maximum. So why two memory chips they have connected? Because one of the memory chip is nothing but EEPROM, but other memory chip is user accessible memory where you can store, delete data. But one memory is EEPROM. EEPROM means if this is a ROM type, in that ROM, already the designer who has designed the kit, he has inserted all these programs. These are called system programs. That means to work with the system, some programs are required. So those system program is already inserted or by the designer into the ROM. So that ROM chip is there. So that you can see that whatever is written in this, but you cannot change or delete it. Because if the system programs are deleted, then this microprocessor kit with other peripheral device will not work properly. That's why the designer who have designed the kit, he insert this system program in a ROM. And that ROM is not accessible by the user. You cannot store it something. And another memory chip is a read-write memory where you can store. And normally this ROM memory region, normally for every manufacturer is use this address of this ROM chip starts with 00 whatever is written here, this any address 000010, this sort of. The address starts with 00. This basically, if you see in the kit, any kit, you will find this address belongs to the ROM region. Now the problem is, if you interrupt the processor using RST0, after interruption, processor will jump to 000 address. So you should write your subroutine in the 000 address. So two problems then arises. One is to write your subprogram in the 000 address. You have only 8 registers left, which may not be sufficient to write your entire subroutine. Another issue is in the kit you will find this 00 address is not accessible by the user because it belongs to the EEPROM region where user is not stored anything. Then how we will write the service routine? Basically, who have designed this kit, what he has done during designing or during storing program in the EEPROM or ROM, what he has done in this 00 address, 0008, 10 in all address, he has already inserted a jump instruction. You don't have to insert the jump instruction. It is already inserted by the designer. He has inserted a jump instruction in the 00 address. Jump what? Jump a address is given. That address is the user accessible address. And how you will know that this value of this address? For a particular specific kit, this address is fixed. So you have to get the manual of that particular kit and find that what is the jump instruction is written for RST0 in the 00 address. Similarly, for RST7, what jump instruction or jump address is written in 0038 address, that you get it from the manual. That means processor will jump to 00 address. Whenever it jumps to 00 address, you will find there is a instruction JMP suppose 8000. Means it automatically after that processor will jump to 8000 address, which is a user accessible area. Now from 800, so many registers are free. You can use or you can write your service routine there because this is the user accessible area. So meaning is all the all location for RS because I have to one issue was there that after getting interruption, main program will be stopped and processor will go to the ISR for removing the abnormality. There I have put a question that how the processor will know where your ISR is written. That is to remove the abnormality where this ISR means service routine is written, so that processor will go there. Processor don't have to know that because it is fixed. For every interrupt, the call location of that for that interrupt is fixed. That means after getting interruption using RST0, processor will jump to 000 address. So in that address, a jump instruction is already written by the manufacturer. So you find it from the manual which jump address is given there. In that, from that address, you start writing your service routine. That means after executing the service routine, there is a return instruction. It will come back to the main program after removing the abnormality. That is the process of executing software interrupt. But still now, as I have told you, that the code of these RST0 to RST7, anyone like C7, CF, that externally you have to supply to the processor using a hardware. Now it is shown this is basically a hardware which is used to supply the code of every RST instruction from external. This is nothing but a buffer. We have used only a 8-bit buffer is used. 8-bit buffer is only used to generate the code of RST instruction so that it will be supplied to 8085 processor for interruption. Here, this 8-bit buffer is used to generate the code of RST5 only. For different RST, different buffer you have to use. one buffer can generate the code of only one instruction. So what is the, if you see the code of RST5, what is the code of RST5? EF. EF means all one, only D4 equal to 0 in binary. This is the code of RST5. Now see what has been done to generate the code of RST5 using this die-state buffer. Because buffer, 8-bit buffer means 8 input, 8 output. Okay? And there is an enable input. If you enable, input will go to the output. And if you disable, input will not go to the output. That is the thing. Now see, at the input what is done, at the input this code of RST5 is implemented. The code of RST5 is already implemented in this buffer. What is, and this resistance, basically here plus 5 volt is connected. With this resistance there is a plus 5 volt. It is not given here, this is plus 5 volt, meaning 1. Because code of RST5 is all 1, only D4 equal to 0. If you see this D4 from here, you see this line, this is D4. D4 is connected to ground, means there is a 0 is applied at the input. And otherwise all 7 pins, in this all 7 pins plus 5 volt means logic 1 is applied. Why this buffer is used? At the input side of the buffer, you implement the code of that particular interrupt. In case RST5, you apply the EF code at the input. EF code means all 1 before 0. Okay. Now, only thing is that whenever it is required, you enable this buffer. Whenever you enable this buffer, the output of this buffer is basically connected to the data bus of the processor. This D7 to D0 basically output of the buffer. This will be connected to the data bus of the 8085 processor. The purpose of this buffer is to supply the code of RST5 to the processor whenever it is required. Now think, so that's why I have implemented the code of RST5 at the input of this buffer. So when it will be supplied to the processor through the data bus? If I enable the buffer, it will be going to the processor through the data bus. Now the question is, when I should enable this buffer? So that this code will go to the processor? Only I will enable this buffer whenever it is required by the processor. When it is how this device will understand that yes, now I have to supply the code of RST5 to the processor? Again, INTA bus. See the process. You have to request to INTR. If INTR processor grant your request, processor will generate INTA bar equal to 0. Meaning is, we have granted your request, now it is your task to supply the code of RST5 to the processor. That is, now I have to enable the buffer. So it is not possible manually. That's why this INTA bar signal of the 8085 pin of the 8085 is directly connected to the enable input of this buffer. So that whenever processor will generate INTA bar equal to 0, that 0 will be coming here at the enable input of the buffer. Suppose it will be enabled, active low enable, by 0 it will be enabled. So this buffer will be enabled, means input will be sorted to the output. So EF, whatever is implemented at the input, that will go to the output, and ultimately it will come to the processor through the data bus. So processor will get the opcode of RST5, and then it will be executed. And after executing, the processor will be interrupted. Means it will again. I will tell you the process. It will store the return address of the main program in the stack and jump. Where it will jump? Now I will tell. It will jump to the corresponding call location of RST5. It will jump to the call location of RST5 because you have interrupted using RST5. It will jump. How it will processor understand that it has to jump to the call location of RST5 because he has executed the code of RST5. You have supplied the code of RST5. So after decoding it only, it will understand RST5. So and it is fixed. The address of RST5 is fixed. It will jump to the call location of RST5, and in that location, if a jump instruction is there to the user accessible memory, there you write your service routine, processor will execute. That is the process of generating the code of RST instructions externally by using only a buffer. Now the another issue is actually here. So the question is, suppose I have with the processor, I have two devices, and that two device is trying to, both of them will try to interrupt the 8085 processor. Try to understand. Here I have taken an one example of one device, external device.
হ্যালো স্যার
That's
স্যার ওই 8000 থেকে 8008 এর মধ্যে একটা গ্যাপ ছিল 8 রেজিস্টার, ওখান থেকে আরেকবার বলবেন যে কি হয়েছে?
because for call, if you see the call location of every software interrupt, you see call location of RST0 is 0000, but call location of RST1 is 0008. That means between the call location RST1, how many registers are there? 8. Because at 00000001 up to 0007. So your task is to write the subprogram into the call, starting from the call location of that particular RST instruction. So if I start writing my subprogram, is it possible that with this 8 register I will be able to store my entire subprogram? You will find that it is every time it is not possible, because my subprogram will take more number of bytes. So it will take more number of registers. So that means you will not, those RST0 will jump to 00 address, but in that address only 8 registers are there to write your subprogram, which is insufficient. So that's why what I told you, what manufacturer will do, manufacturer has already put a jump instruction there. Jump what address? A user accessible address where so many registers are available. Suppose jump 9000. So after processor will jump to 9000 address, but there you will find that instruction jump is there. So he will jump to the 900 address, and actually you have to write your subroutine not at 00 address. You have to write the subroutine at 900 address, because somebody has already inserted, or manufacturer has already inserted a jump instruction in the 000 address. Why he has, manufacturer has inserted a jump instruction there? Two reasons. One reason is 00 address is not accessible by the user. It is a EEPROM area. You cannot write anything. Another issue is that there are only limited number of registers, 8 registers are available to store your program, which is insufficient. So you must have to write your program in a read-write memory where so many registers are available. For that reason, manufacturer has put a jump instruction, already put a jump instruction there. Okay.
স্যার মানে আমি 001 থেকে নিয়ে 7 অবধি কিছু লিখবো না, খালি 000 থেকে থাকবে আর ওখান থেকে ডাইরেক্ট জাম্প হয়ে যাবে?
দরকার নেই, because you have been already, manufacturer has put a jump instruction. So whenever jump will get executed, it will jump to the other address. So in that address, so many registers are there. You write your interrupt service routine there. Okay. So here in this example, what we have done, we have taken that only one peripheral device will try to interrupt the 8085 processor using RST5. It may be that instead of one device, multiple devices is trying to interrupt the processor. It may happen. For example, let's assume with processor, 2 peripheral devices there, both of them are trying to interrupt the 8085 using, both of them will interrupt using software. For different purpose. Definitely for different purpose they will interact. Now if I ask you whether both of them can use the same software interrupt for interruption or not. Suppose for RST5, suppose device 1 is interrupting the processor using RST5, device 2 is also interrupting the processor using RST5. Same interrupt, software interrupt they have taken. My question is it possible or not? Or they have to take separate interrupt, software interrupt, if multiple device will try to interrupt the processor?
স্যার INTA বারটা তো যে কোনো একজনের কাছেই যাবে।
Now first tell me whether they can take same interrupt or not.
No sir, separate.
Why not? Why not similar same interrupt?
Sir, because both will interrupt at the same location বা same point একটাই।
Yes, that is right. Because you have, both of you are interrupting for different purpose. Different purpose means for different abnormality. And to remove this abnormality, you have to write the ISR. Definitely two device will remove two different abnormality, so ISR will be different. But if both of them will use RST5, and that means what happens? For always, if device 1, device 2, anybody will interact, it will jump to a single call location for RST5. So in that single call location, it is not possible to write two different subprograms for ISR. you can write only one subprogram in a particular call location. That means two devices cannot use the same software interrupt for interruption. They must use a different software interrupt. If multiple device wants to interrupt, they should use different software interrupt because different software is having different call location. So in that different call location, use variety of different ISR to remove different types of abnormality. So again, there is an issue. Though both the device 1 and device 2, uh, suppose somebody is taking RST5 and somebody is thinking that we will interrupt using RST7. Different interrupt, software interrupt they are taking. Then also some issues will come. That I have drawn here just by a drawing I have shown. Suppose device 1, this in the left side device D1 and D2, they are the device. Both of them will try to interrupt 8085 processor using two software interrupt. And some of you have tried to say that issue with INTA bar signal. Of course, there is issue. So one has been suppose device 1 is taking RST5 for interruption, and device 2 will interrupt through RST7 to 8085 processor. And to generate the code of how could this processor will get the code of RST5 and RST7? You have to supply the code externally by using a buffer. Two such buffer I have used here. This 8-bit buffer is used to supply the code of RST5 because at the input of this buffer I have applied EF. EF is the code of RST5. Okay, and this buffer I have used to generate the code of RST7, whose code is FF. All are connected to one. So that means whenever this second buffer will be enabled, it will supply the code of RST7, and whenever this first buffer will be enabled, it will supply the code of RST5. Why two buffer I have implemented? Because I thought that this two device will interrupt the processor D1 using RST5, and D2 device will interrupt the processor using RST7. Now think of the software interrupt process which I have described just now. It involves two steps. First, it will send the request signal through the INTR pin. Then it will send the code of that particular RST so that processor will execute the code and actually processor will be interrupted. Now the first issue is if D1 and D2 both of them are trying to interrupt the processor using software interrupt, different software interrupt of course. But my question is where they will send the request signal? First he has to send the request signal to the processor. So where they will send the request signal? And the answer is to interrupt using software interrupt for sending request signal, only one pin is available, that is INTR. You don't have multiple pin to send the request for software interrupt. Only one pin is there, that is INTR. Meaning is I have to connect both the device to the INTR pin. Whenever D1 will try to send a request, he will send a 1 through this pin and it will come to INTR pin. If D2 will interrupt, he will also send a 1 and it will go to the INTR pin. Here only first problem comes. Now my question is, after getting INTR equal to 1, whether processor will understand that this interrupt request is coming whether from D1 or from D2? Whether processor can understand it?
No, sir.
No. So this is another problem. That means if only one interruption issue, that suppose if only one device trying to interrupt, no issue. One interrupt pin, send the request to one buffer, no problem. But whenever multiple interruption is required, then to send the request signal, there is a limitation at the very beginning that your processor is not having many INTR pin in the 8085 chip. It is having only one INTR pin. And if I connect both of the device to the INTR pin for sending request signal, and whenever a one is coming to the INTR pin to the processor cannot understand this one is coming whether from D1 or from D2. This is a problem. So suppose let's assume processor do not understand. So we have discussed this problem. Suppose from somewhere it is coming. INTR 1 is coming. Now see another problem will come here at the buffer. Whatever someone of you has tried to say that after recognizing this INTR equal to 1, If processor grants the request, what processor will do? It will generate INTA bar equal to 0. Now see what we are doing with this INTA bar. This INTA bar will be used to enable the buffer. We have used both the buffer. So this INTA bar is connected to the enable input of both the buffer. Now see, whenever this INTA bar is 0 is generated, 0 is coming to the enable of this buffer as well as enable input of this second buffer also. Meaning is both the buffer will be enabled at the same time. Then what happens? So this is connected to the data bus of the processor. So through this data bus, code of RST5 as well as code of RST7 both will come at the same time to the data bus. Then what happens? They will interfere and ultimately no effective code will be transferred to the processor. That is the problem. So two problems, because you can understand, whenever INTA bar will be 0 generated by 0, this 0 will enable both the buffers at the same time, because both of them are connected to INTA bar. So if both the buffers are enabled, code of RST5 and code of RST7 both will appear to the data bus of the processor at the same time. They will interfere and ultimately no effective code will be transferred to the processor, and processor will not be interrupted at all. So that is a problem. So then, is it not possible that using a software interrupt multiple device cannot interrupt the processor? No, there is a way out. But this mechanism, whatever we have just discussed, using this mechanism, using many buffer, it is not possible to provide multiple software interruption facility in 8085 processor. This problem will come out. Then what is the, because remember, there is a way out, I will discuss it now. But remember, what is the use of this two buffer? What this two buffer is doing? This buffer we are using to generate the 8-bit code of the respective RST instruction, RST5 or RST7. How many bit code they are generating? 8-bit. How they are generating? At the input side, we have implemented the code, and this buffer will generate or supply the 8-bit code whenever this will be enabled. So main purpose of the buffer is to supply the or generate the 8-bit code of the respective software interrupt. But issue will come out whenever we are trying to provide a multiple interruption facility, then this system will not work, because at the same time all the buffer will be enabled and no effective code will be transferred to the processor. And again, at the input side also, if we think, all of them will send a request signal to the INTR pin, so it is not possible for the processor to recognize from where this interruption request is coming. This is the issue. So the first issue, that all are sending the request signal through the INTR pin. This can be resolved if instead of one INTR pin, if we can provide 8 INTR pin. Why 8 INTR pin? Because I have 8 software interrupt. For each software interrupt, if separate request pin are there, then probably this input problem at the input side will be solved. Because processor, suppose for INTR 0, INTR 1 to INTR 7, 8 interrupt pins are there. So whenever a one is coming to the INTR 0 pin, means processor will understand it is interruption is coming for RST 0 like that. But actually it is not there. Only one pin is there. Now try to solve it. Now see this diagram, this table. Here RST 0 to RST 7, all the code of RST 0 to RST 7 is written. And here, because we are interested only on hex code, but here you have seen in the table intentionally they have tabulated the binary code also. Because definitely there are some significance of writing binary code instead of writing hex code. Now you inspect very carefully all the code represented in binary for RST0 to RST7. Because this code we are supplying 8-bit code for each interrupt, we are supplying with the help of buffer. How many bit code we are supplying to the processor? 8-bit code. But if you carefully check the binary representation of 8-bit code of all the 8 software interrupt, there you can find that instead of for all interrupt, we don't need to generate a 8-bit code of all the interrupt. Why? Because if you see for all interrupt, only D7, D6, D2, D1, D0, you think, see these two value, D6, D7, what is its value? What is the value of D7 and D6 for all interrupt?
7.
1, it is fixed to 1. Same thing for D2, D1, D0. They are also always 1 for all the software interrupt. So my question is, if out of 8 bit, 5 bit is always 1, so why I will use a 8 bit buffer to generate the code of it? Because I know that 5 bits are always 1. So at the output side only I will directly connect this 5 bit to 1. Only I will generate the 3 bit, because if you see, there is a variation of in the binary code only at the position D5, D4 and D3. If you see, the variation occurs only at D4, D5 and D3. So what I should do is mention that in this circuit, suppose in this circuit, why I will use a 8-bit buffer? I will use a 3-bit buffer. Which 3-bit I will implement at the input? The 3-bit D5, D4, D3, which is basically changing. This 3-bit I will implement here. But at the output side, I will take 8 output lines. But what I will do? 3 output lines I will connect to the output of the buffer, and remaining 5 output lines, here only I will directly apply their 1. Because I know that these values are always 1. That's why it is not at all necessary to generate a 8-bit code of this all RST structure using 8-bit buffer. Why not necessary? Because for all software interrupt, 5 bits value D7, D6, D2, D1, D0 are always fixed to 1. So at the output only we will directly apply 1 there. Only the variation is occurred at D4, D5, D3. So depending on a RST, we will only use a 3-bit buffer so that it will generate the code 3-bit code, and with this 3-bit at the output I will add 5 1. So it will be 8-bit. But again, if you check carefully, the combination of this 3-bit, variation of this 3-bit D5, D4, D3 of all the RST, that variation also maintains a sequence. For RST0, the value of this 3-bit is 000. For RST1, it is 001. For RST2, 010. It is maintaining a sequence, that means binary combination is increasing by 1. And for RST7, the value of D5, D4, D3 is 111. That means it is maintaining a sequence. For RST0, it is 0. Only concentrate on this 3-bit. For RST1, it is 1. For RST7, it is 7. So now the problem is, though if I think that I will generate only 3-bit code, another 5-bit I will add 1 at the output, no problem. But to provide multiple interruption facility, suppose 2, as I have shown you just before, that I have to use 2 buffer instead of 8-bit, I have to use 2-bit, a 3-bit buffer. But if I use 3-bit buffer, then also same problem exists. Why? Because both the buffer will be enabled at the same time, and code of 2 interrupt will be reach to the data bus at the same time and interfere and lost. No effective data will be transferred. That's why what is done, to generate this 3-bit code of 8 software interrupt D5, D4 and D3, we will not use a buffer. Rather, because I have to, for 8 interrupt, I have to use 8 different buffer. For 2 interrupt, I have to use 2 3-bit buffer. But if I use multiple buffer, then it's a problem that all buffers enabled at the same time and it will interfere and effective code will be lost. That is the issue. That is why this problem is solved. That why is it possible that instead of using multiple buffer to generate this 3-bit code, can we use a single buffer to generate the code of all RST? Because I have used here, you see, I have used 2 buffer to generate the code of RST5 and another is for RST7. But my question is it possible that I will use only 1 buffer and this buffer is able to generate the code of all RST? It is not possible. Why not? Because at the input I have fixed the value of this code. So for code of this for every RST is different. So if I fix it for a buffer, it will only produce that value only. So that's why what is done,
Decoder circuit.
instead of using a buffer, a priority encoder is basically used to generate the code of all the software interrupt, 3-bit code. You remember in the digital class, priority encoder. What is the meaning of function of encoder? Encoder will generate the binary code of the input object. And what is priority encoder? Priority encoder means out of, before that, remember the encoder, if I have 8 inputs 8 inputs at the input of encoder means I want to generate the code of how many objects? 8. Then how many output the encoder should have? 3. Because it will generate the binary code of 8 objects. So to generate the binary code of 8 objects, 3 bit is sufficient because 3 bit is having 8 by different binary combination from 00 to 111. But how your encoder will understand that out of 8 whose code this encoder will generate? For that, the code of the input object which you want to generate, there you have to apply 1, other you have to apply 0. If I apply d0 equal to 1 at the input, meaning is that encoder will understand he has to generate the code of d0 as 0. If somebody applies 1 at the d7 input of the encoder, it will generate 3-bit output as 111, like that. But there is a problem in a normal encoder that if multiple input becomes 1, suppose d7 and d6 both inputs somebody has applied 1, meaning is you are requested to generate the code of RST6 and as well as RST7 at the same time, which a encoder circuit or digital circuit cannot do. It can generate the code of one object at a time. So then this problem is removed using a priority encoder, I have told you. Priority encoder means between input object you assign a priority, and whenever multiple request is coming at the input, your encoder will generate the code of highest priority object only. That is the meaning. Anyway, so you have to use a priority encoder to generate the binary code, 3-bit code D5, D4, D3 of all the RST. Because why I am using encoder? Because you see the variation of this 3-bit for all RST instructions. For RST0 it is 000, for RST1 it is 001, for RST7 it is 111. That means if I use a single encoder, 8 cross 3 priority encoder, this single encoder can able to generate the 3-bit code of all the 8 interrupts, depending on whose code you want. So that circuit is, I have shown it here. Now see this diagram. This one, I see the first block which is leveled. This is basically a priority encoder. This is priority encoder. Next, there is a 3-bit buffer. This is a 3-bit buffer, right state buffer. Then it is coming to the data bus of the processor. Now see, here these 8 inputs are there. Okay. Here they are taking active low. You may take active high also. Anyway, just forget about the active low or active high. Suppose this is a 8 cross 3 encoder is taken. What is the input of this encoder? I7 to I0. They are for the 8 software interrupts. And this output of this 3-bit encoder, this will basically generate D5, D4 and D3 bit of the code. This is coming to the buffer. Ultimately, it is coming to the data bus, where output of this buffer is connected to the 3 line D5, D4 and D3. And as you have seen, for all interrupt, all bits are always 1. So remaining 5 lines are always connected to plus 5 volt at the output. All are always 1. Only the value of this 3 line D5, D4 and D3 will come from the buffer. Okay. Now see what happens. And another characteristics of this priority encoder is another feature is added here, that this is having another output. This priority encoder is having another output, and it is mentioned that if any one of the input is 1, or if multiple inputs are 1, then this E0 will become 1. This sort of circuitry is there inside the chip. Remember, if any one of the inputs are 1 or multiple inputs 1, then E0 will be 1. That sort of circuit. That means there is a OR gate. The OR gate is there at the E0. Output of this OR gate is E0 and input of this OR gate is I7 to I0. That circuit is there within the chip. Now see the first problem that we have for all software interrupts, only one request pin is there, that is INTR. Everybody will send a request to INTR pin, so processor will not able to recognize from which device the request is coming. Solution is, if there are 8 request pin, then probably this issue is not arise. So as there is only one pin, you cannot provide 8 pins in 8085 processor. And now with the help of this priority encoder, basically you are providing 8 request pin externally with the help of this encoder. These 8 inputs of this encoder will be treated as request input for all the 8 software interrupt RST0 to RST7. Okay. If suppose I want to interrupt or a device wants to interrupt the processor using software interrupt RST7, then what I have to do? That device I will connect to the I7 pin, this I7 input. You see this priority encoder. You have to connect this device here so that this device will send a request signal to the I7 input of this encoder. So whenever I7 is coming 1, then what this circuit will do? This circuit will produce the code of I7 as 111 because this is the priority encoder. It will generate the code as 11 at the output. But this code will not go to the data bus because it is passing through a buffer. Unless I enable this buffer, that will not go to the data bus. So it is generated, but still it is trapped here in between. I have to enable this second buffer so that it will reach to the data bus. Now see how it will when it will be enabled. Now whenever I7 is 1, I have already told you a feature of E0. I7 1 means you have your device has sent a request for interruption. My question is the request is transferred to the processor? Is your device send the request to the processor? No. He had sent a request to the I7 pin of the priority encoder. It is designed externally. Meaning his request till now is not sent to the processor. The device is sending the interruption request to the priority encoder. And now what you have to do, this E0 pin of this priority encoder, you have to connect to the INTR pin of the processor. You see here, INTR pin of the processor. What is the meaning? Meaning is, if anybody send a request to the priority encoder by sending 1, automatically this E0 output will be 1 and that will go to the INTR pin of the processor. Whenever it reaches to the processor, processor will understand somebody is trying to interrupt using software interrupt. If he requests it, grant the request, he will generate INTA bar 0. Now whenever INTA bar 0 is generated, now see this INTA bar is connected to the enable input of this buffer. Already as I7 is 1, here the 111 code of RST7 is generated, and whenever INTA bar becomes 0, this 111 will come to the data bus of the processor, and all remaining 5 bit is 1. So FF code will go to the data bus, and processor will get the code of RST7. Now if somebody thinks, now see whether it can generate the code of RST only RST7. No, it can generate the code of all RST because it is a priority encoder. If you send a request through I5 for RST5, what happens? It will generate the 3-bit code of RST5. INTR will be generated as 1, go to the processor. If processor accepts, generates INTA bar 0, buffer will be enabled, code of RST5 will come to the data bus and it will reach to the processor. And if I7 and I6, suppose multiple interrupt is coming, both of them are coming at the same time, no issue, because this is a priority encoder. Out of these inputs, suppose a priority is given, I7 is highest, then I6. So though you are sending 2 requests at the same time, but it will generate the code of I7 and it will go to the processor as a code of RST7. So RST7, using RST7 processor will be implemented. That means this circuit using priority encoder. Now the earlier problem of using multiple buffer to generate the code of multiple interrupt and at the same time all buffers gets enabled, this problem is not there. Because here a single priority encoder can able to generate the code of all the software interrupt. So using this buffer, you will now be able to provide multiple interruption facility using the software interrupt. So if you I will tell the hardware interrupt in the next class. If you have any issue here in the software interrupt, please tell me.
স্যার এই লাস্টের সার্কিটটা আরেকবার একটু বলে দেবেন শর্টে?
এটা
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
Because you have seen that if I have to provide, because this circuit we are using, because earlier we have used separate buffer to generate the code of all interrupts separately. If I want to generate the code of 8 software interrupt, I have to design 8 buffer. Here I have seen to generate the code of 2 interrupt, I have used 2 buffer. Similarly, if I have to provide facility of 8 interrupt, I have to use 8 buffer. But problem is, all buffer gets enabled at the same time, all code will reach to the data bus at the same time, and ultimately no effective code is transferred to the process. That is the problem. Then they are thinking that instead of using 8 buffers to generate the code of 8 software interrupt, is it not possible to generate the code of all interrupt using one circuit? From there only this situation comes. They then thought that, see the code of all RST instructions. They thought that no, why I will generate 8-bit code? Because all my 5 bits are fixed to 1. Only there is a variation at D5, D4 and D3. So they will think that no, I will not generate 8-bit code, will generate only 3-bit code. And other 5-bit we will add 1 at the output. No issue. And if you see the variation of this 3-bit D5, D4, D3 for all RST instruction, that variation is also maintaining a sequence. For RST0 it is 0, for RST7 it is 7. So then they thought that they should use a single circuit which is called a priority encoder, because the encoder will be able to generate 8 cross 3 encoder. So 8 cross 3 means it will be generating code, 3-bit binary code of the 8 inputs. The 8 input means this is 8 RST. So for 8 RST, single circuit I will use a priority encoder, and depending on my request, this circuit will be able to generate the code of all the software interrupt. Then they have used this priority encoder so that this encoder can able to generate the code of all interrupt. This I7 is for RST7, this I0 input is for RST0. And in this priority encoder, a additional facility is there, input output is there, E0. It is mentioned E0 will be 1 if any input is 1 or multiple input equal to 1. And this E0 is connected to the INTR pin of the processor. So now if anybody wants to interrupt using RST6, instead of sending the request signal to the INTR pin of the processor directly, what I have discussed earlier, now the device will not send directly the request to the processor. He will send the request to the priority encoder pin I6 pin of the priority encoder. And whenever a request is coming to the I6 pin of the processor, this priority encoder will generate the code of I6 means RST6 3-bit code D5, D4, D3. But this will be blocked at the buffer because if it is enabled, then it will go to the output. Now, whenever I6 is 1, automatically E0 is 1, and the now request is transferred to the processor. So if anybody send a request through any one of the pin of priority encoder, automatically that request will indirectly be transferred to the INTR pin of the processor through E0. Okay. So if processor grants this request, now he will generate INTA bar equal to 0. INTA bar 0 means buffer will be enabled, and already the code is generated here. That code will go to the data bus, 3-bit code. And if you see, it is not 3-bit code because all RST is having 8-bit code. Now, if you see the output lines, 8 output lines, already all the 5 lines are already connected to 1. Only this 3 input is coming from the priority encoder, so that this 3 input may vary depending on which request is coming to the priority encoder. This 3 bit will change, but remaining 5 bit will be always 1, so that this circuit will be able to generate the code of any RST from RST0 to RST7. And this is you have don't any problem of mixing all the codes, because this is a priority encoder. At a time it can generate only code of 1, but there is a facility of generating 8 code because this is the 8 cross 3 priority encoder. Any other question here?
স্যার এই বাফারটা কি করছে এখানে ডাইরেক্টলি খালি পাস করে দিচ্ছে?
Of course, because no buffer we have to use, because see you are sending, if I suppose this buffer is not there, I am directly connecting the output of encoder to the data bus. Okay, then what happens? Suppose you have sent a request for RST7 through I7 pin. So you have sent the I7 equal to 1. What output it will generate? 111. If buffer is not there, 111 is coming to the data bus. That means code of RST7 is coming to the data bus and processor will be executing the code of RST7. But it is the process? No. The process is you should supply the code of RST whenever processor will grant your request. How you will understand processor grant your request? whenever processor will generate INTA bar equal to 0. That's why this buffer is placed in between. Just this buffer will wait for the INTA bar signal, means wait for the permission of the processor. If processor permit, it will generate INTA bar and then it will enable the buffer and then only it will supply that code to the processor. For that only buffer is given so that code is generated by the priority encoder, but it will wait until your processor sends a INTA bar equal to 0. That code will not be transferred to the processor.
হ্যালো স্যার।
বলো।
স্যার বলছি প্রথমে দেখা গেল স্যার এই i6 এ স্যার সিগন্যাল পাঠিয়েছে যে ডিভাইসটা, দেওয়ার পর কিছুক্ষণ পরেই স্যার i7 এ আবার ওই ডিভাইসটা মানে সিগন্যাল পাঠালো। তো প্রায়োরিটি এনকোডার আগে কোনটা নেবে?
না, তুমি তোমার কোশ্চেনটা ওটা ঠিক হলো না। তুমি বললে প্রথমে i7 পাঠিয়েছিল, তার কিছুক্ষণ পরে i6 পাঠিয়েছে।
না না, আমি বললাম স্যার i6 পাঠিয়েছে, তারপর কিছুক্ষণ পরে i7 পাঠিয়েছে। তাহলে
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। প্রথমে না, priority is not issue here because তুমি বলছো যে আগে i6 পাঠিয়েছে, যখন i6 পাঠিয়েছে during that time i7 is not coming, so it will generate the code of i6 and it will processor will be interrupted using RST6. Not the question is, issue is there also there is a problem in your issue, in your question. The problem is, suppose RST6 is code is transferred to the processor and processor is interrupted using RST6. Meaning is, after closing the main program, processor enters into the corresponding call location of RST6 to execute the ISR there. So it will take some time to execute the ISR. Now my question is, or whatever you are asking, before completing the execution of ISR corresponding to RST6, suppose I7 pin there a request is coming. Suppose in I7 pin a request is coming. Then what happens? Again the code of RST7 will be generated. Code of RST7 will go to the processor. Processor will execute. Then my question is that after getting the RST7.5 code, whether processor will go to the corresponding service routine of RST7 without completing the service routine of RST6. Try to understand the problem. Your question I will answer later. First, see, somebody has sent a request through i6. Okay, RST6 is executed and processor is entering into the subroutine corresponding to RST6. But before completing the subroutine, suppose somebody has sent a request through i7 pin. So again a new request is coming. So code of RST7 will be generated by this circuit and it will reach to the processor. So whenever code of RST7 will go to the processor, processor will be interrupted again. So it will try to go to the corresponding subroutine of RST7. My question is, whenever RST7 is coming, during that time if service routine of RST6 is not completed, whether processor will again go to the service routine of RST7 or not?
নো স্যার, কারণ ডিসেবল হয়ে যাবে তো এটা কোন গেটে যাওয়ার পর।
Exactly. This means whenever after getting a interrupt request, interrupt RST suppose 6, processor has interrupted and it enters into the subroutine of RST6. There I told you, whenever it enters into the ISR, the interrupt enable flip-flop will be kept into the disabled state automatically. Why? Now my question is, why automatically they have made a provision of putting this flip-flop, interrupt enable flip-flop in the disabled state? Disable means now nobody can interrupt the processor. The thing is, during that time if somebody sends i7 request, that request will not be granted. Why not granted at all? It will not be granted at all. Why not granted? Because processor will find that its interrupt enable flip-flop is already in the disabled state. Meaning is he will not accept any interrupt now. Next issue is, why the mechanism is inbuilt in a 8085 processor in such a way that if it enters into the ISR, nobody can interrupt them. Meaning to like that only. That interrupt, when it enters into the ISR, interrupt enable flip-flop is kept into the disabled state automatically. What is the meaning? Meaning is, if somebody interrupt and go to the ISR, without completing this ISR, nobody can interrupt the processor again. That is the meaning. Its meaning is like that. So my question is, why such provision is given? Can anybody explain why such provision is made in processor? That
স্যার
how
তাতে
হ্যাঁ,
ওই
বলো।
আরএসটি যেটা
স্যার
সেভেন সেভেন পয়েন্ট মানে যেটা ছিল
ইন্টার
সিক্সটা সেটা আরেকবার
হুম।
না রিকোয়েস্ট পাঠায়।
না, ইস্যু
স্যার
ইজ হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, ইস্যু ইজ হ্যাঁ বলো হ্যাঁ, বলো।
স্যার যখন ইন্টারাপ্ট হবে তখন তো স্যার পরের প্রোগ্রামের ইয়েটা স্ট্যাকে রাখবে,
হুম।
কিন্তু তার মধ্যে যদি আবার ইন্টারাপ্ট হয় তাহলে তো ওটা কি মানে ওই ফিরতে পারবে আবার মেন প্রোগ্রামে?
সেটা ইস্যু নয়, ইস্যু হচ্ছে try to understand. At the very beginning I told you why we will try to interrupt the processor intentionally. কেন? Because again it is mentioned in the presentation, it will be treated as emergency service. It is mentioned. Meaning is you are interrupting the processor because you have an emergency occurred in your system. And to remove this, to take or to get the attention of the processor, you are interrupting. And to remove the abnormality or emergency, the processor must execute the ISR. Because if the ISR is executed, emergency or abnormality will be removed. So whenever processor is entering into the ISR, if ISR is not completed and again it is going to another ISR, meaning is that your abnormality of the system is not removed and you are going to somewhere else. Because some abnormality occurs, you have interrupted the processor. So that processor will execute the subroutine, and after subroutine means to remove the abnormality. So then during that time we must confirm that subroutine must be completed totally. Why? Because if the subroutine is not completed, my abnormality will not be removed. So my intention is in emergency case I have interrupted the processor to remove my abnormality. So first my abnormality should be removed, then anybody can interrupt the processor. That's why this mechanism is inbuilt in 8085, that whenever somebody interrupt the processor, interrupt and enters into the subroutine, interrupt enable flip-flop is kept into the disable automatically. So that processor will, it is confirmed that this ISR will be completed, executed completely, means your abnormality will be removed completely. Then only I will come back to the main program. But again, it is mentioned that before coming back to the main program, you must use a EI instruction at the end of the subroutine, so that you are enabling the interruption facility again and coming back to the main program. So after removing your first abnormality, now again if any abnormality arises, processor will accept it because the interruption enable flip-flop is now kept in the enable state. Okay. Any other question? Hello?
স্যার তার মানে ওই ধরুন i6টা আগে হলো, তো i6টা পুরোটা কমপ্লিট হওয়ার পর তারপর i7টা কমপ্লিট করবে?
অবশ্যই, তার আগে ও রিসিভই করবে না। যদি i6টা অ্যাকসেপ্ট হয়ে যায়, মানে i6 RST6 এর কোডটা এক্সিকিউট হয়ে যায়, যতক্ষণ না রেসপেক্টিভ ISR-টা কমপ্লিট হচ্ছে, during that time no interrupt, further interrupt, any interrupt will be accepted by the processor, because ওই interrupt enable flip-flopটা কি হয়ে গেছে, ডিসেবল। তারপরে যদি ওটা এনেবল হয়, তখন যদি দেখে যে আরো কোনো রিকোয়েস্ট আছে, তার মধ্যে যেটা হাইয়েস্ট প্রায়োরিটি সেটাকেও আগে সার্ভিস করবে। তারপর যদি একসঙ্গে দুটো চলে আসে, যেটা হাইয়েস্ট প্রায়োরিটি সেটাকে আগে সার্ভ করবে, সেটা সার্ভ করা কমপ্লিট হয়ে গেলে ও ফিরে আসার পর যদি দেখে যে তখনও আরেকটা ওয়ান হয়ে আছে, তখন ও নেক্সট প্রায়োরিটিটাকে কি করবে, আবার সার্ভিস করবে, মানে রিকোয়েস্টটাকে ও গ্র্যান্ট করবে। এটা হচ্ছে সিকোয়েন্স।
আচ্ছা স্যার,
স্যার
তাহলে
এটা কি
তাহলে তো এরকম যদি হয় প্রায়োরিটি হিসাবে, তাহলে তো যে নিচের গুলো যারা আছে ওরা তো বসে থাকবে, মানে ওরা তো চান্সই পাবে না, ওই জুনিয়রদের মতন হয়ে যাবে।
না সেটা তো তোমার একটা সিস্টেমে কতবার ইন্টারাপশন হবে সেটা তোমাকে দেখে নিতে হবে যে কোন প্রায়োরিটিটা তোমার, তার মধ্যে মানে অনেকগুলো ইস্যু থাকতে পারে। তো ধরো কোনো এরকম ক্ষেত্রে পরবর্তীকালে আমি আর পড়বে যে হার্ডওয়্যার ট্র্যাপ বলে একটা ইন্টারাপ্ট আছে, যে ইন্টারাপ্টটাকে কেউ স্টপ করতে পারে না। এখানে যেমন আমি কি ওই ইআই ডিআই দিয়ে কি হয়ে গেল, ডিসেবল করে দিতে পারে, ট্র্যাপটাকে কোনোভাবে আটকানো যায় না, ওই ট্র্যাপ হবেই কেউ ওখানে ওয়ান পাঠিয়ে দিলে। তাহলে তোমার তখন কি করতে হয়, তোমার সিস্টেমে ধরো এরকম ফায়ার হয়ে গেছে, ভেরি ভেরি এমার্জেন্সি কেস অ্যারাইজেস, তখন কিন্তু ওই ফায়ারটাকে কিন্তু এক্সটিংগুইশ করতে গিয়ে তুমি এই RST5 RST6 এইগুলোকে ইন্টারাপ্ট করলে তখন হবে না। কেন হবে না বলো তো? তার কারণ কোনো একটা সময় কেউ ডিআই করে রেখে দিয়েছে, তাহলে ইন্টারাপ্ট ফেসিলিটিটা কি হয়ে আছে, হয়তো ডিসেবল হয়ে আছে, তা তোমার ফায়ার হলো, ইন্টারাপ্ট সিগন্যাল জেনারেট করলো, কিন্তু প্রসেসর ওটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করতে পারলো না। তখন তোমার সেই প্রায়োরিটি থেকে তখন কিন্তু ওটাকে সবসময়, আমি পরে নেক্সট ক্লাসে বলবো, সেটাকে কিন্তু সবসময় ট্র্যাপে দিতে হবে। ধরো ফায়ার, হাই এমার্জেন্সি, কারণ ট্র্যাপটাকে কেউ আটকাতে পারবে না, তোমার যতই ডিআই করা থাক, ট্র্যাপ উইল বি সার্ভিস ফার্স্ট। তখন ওখানে ওই ফায়ারের মতো, তার মানে কি তোমার সিস্টেমে যে এমার্জেন্সি গুলো অ্যারাইজ করতে পারে, তার প্রায়োরিটি অনুযায়ী তোমাকে সেটাকে সেই জায়গায় তোমাকে সেট, সেই ইন্টারাপ্ট দিয়ে তোমাকে সেটাকে ইন্টারাপ্ট করতে হবে। আমি যদি দেখি আমার কোনো দুটো প্রায়োরিটির মধ্যে, দুটো অ্যাবনর্মালিটির মধ্যে একটা খুব এমার্জেন্সি, সেটাকে নিশ্চয়ই আমি i6 এ দেবো না, সেটাকে আমি সবসময় i7 দিই, RST7 দিই সার্ভিস করার চেষ্টা করবো। কারণ আমি জানি যে এই দুটোর মধ্যে আমার এটা হয়তো খুব জরুরি। সেটা তোমাকে, সেটা যে ডিজাইন করবে তাকে ডিসাইড করে নিতে হবে। হ্যাঁ,
স্যার দেখা গেল স্যার এই যে সার্ভিস, এই যে প্রোগ্রামটা, এই প্রোগ্রামটা চলাকালীনই স্যার RST 7.5 এ কেউ মানে হার্ডওয়্যারে রিকোয়েস্ট পাঠাচ্ছে,
সেটা বলবো,
তখন কি?
নেক্সট বলবো। তার মানে এগুলোর মধ্যে একটা প্রায়োরিটি আছে, এগুলোও একটা,
হ্যাঁ আমি ওটাই বলতে
হ্যাঁ, এখানে যেমন আমি শুধু প্রায়োরিটিটা বললাম কার মধ্যে, সফটওয়্যার ইন্টারাপ্ট গুলোর মধ্যে, ধরো RST7 এর হাইয়েস্ট প্রায়োরিটি, কিন্তু ইনক্লুডিং দ্যাট হার্ডওয়্যার ইন্টারাপ্ট and software interrupt, there is a priority, and of course interrupt priority for hardware interrupt is more than that of software interrupt. সেখানে ধরো RST 5.5 এরও interrupt priority বেশি than software interrupt। নেক্সট দিনই বলে দেবো। তারপরে আছে RST 6.5, 7.5, then trap is the highest priority।
আচ্ছা স্যার,
আগে hardware
0.5 করে নাম দেওয়া হচ্ছে কেন স্যার? 7.5,
ওরা
6.5?
নামগুলো দিয়েছে, এটা দেখো, এটা নাম দেওয়ার কোনো কারণ নেই, কারণটা কিছু নেই। একটা কারণ, ওরা স্পেসিফিক কোনো কারণ নেই, একটা কারণ সবাই বলে এটাকে, যে কল লোকেশন গুলো আছে না, যে কল অ্যাড্রেস গুলো যেগুলো আছে, ধরো RST 0, তার কল অ্যাড্রেস কত দেখে নাও, এই 00000, এটা বলছে যে যেটা RST ভ্যালু, RST 0, তাকে 8 দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই করলে যা হয় তার হেক্স ভ্যালু হচ্ছে ওটা। দেখো RST 1, ওকে 8, 1 1 1 কে তুমি 8 দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই করলে কত হয়? 8 8 তো, তার মানে কি তার 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 কল অ্যাড্রেসটা দেখো 0008। এবার যদি তুমি 2 ধরো, 2 কে যদি 8 দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই, RST 2, 2 কে 8 দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই করলে কত হয়? 16, 16 কে তুমি হেক্সাডেসিমালে কনভার্ট করো, সেটা 0010। দেখো কল অ্যাড্রেসটা কত আছে? 0010। এবার তুমি দেখো RST 5.5, RST 5 এ দেখো অ্যাড্রেসটা হচ্ছে 0028। এবার RST 5.5 দেখবে, এই যে এখানে আগে দেখো RST 5 এর অ্যাড্রেসটা কত আছে? 0028। আর RST 6 এর অ্যাড্রেস কত আছে? 0030। ডেফিনেটলি ওই যে RST 5.5 আছে, তারও একটা কল অ্যাড্রেস আছে, তার অ্যাড্রেসটা এদের মাঝখানে আছে। কত আছে? ওই 5.5 কে 8 দিয়ে গুণ করলে যা হবে ডেসিমাল, সেটাকে হেক্সে কনভার্ট করবে, সেটাই হবে তার অ্যাড্রেস। এইরকম একটা,
আচ্ছা ওইভাবে নাম দিয়েছে।
এইভাবে একটা ডিফাইন করা, কোনো স্পেসিফিক কোনো এক্সাক্ট কারণ এটা নয়, এভরিবডি উইল সে লাইক দ্যাট, সবাই এটাকে ইন্টারপ্রেট করে। হ্যাঁ, যে ওই নাম্বারটা, RST নাম্বারটাকে 8 দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই করলে যে ডেসিমাল নাম্বার হয়, সেটাকে হেক্সে কনভার্ট করলে সেটাই হবে তার সেই ইন্টারাপ্টের রেসপেক্টিভ কল অ্যাড্রেস। মুখস্থ করতে হবে না এই কল অ্যাড্রেস গুলো কত, 8 দিয়ে মাল্টিপ্লাই করে হেক্সে কনভার্ট করে দেবে, সেটাই। সিমিলারলি RST 6.5, তার কল অ্যাড্রেসটা দেখবে RST 6 আর RST 7 এর মাঝখানে আছে, মানে 0030 আর 0038 এর মাঝখানে আছে, তার 0034 হবে হয়তো।
স্যার এই হার্ডওয়্যার ইন্টারাপ্ট গুলোকেও কি জাম্প করা থাকে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, সব হতে থাকে। এই এই প্রসেসটাকে একটুখানি বলে দিই। এই যে তোমার গাওকারের বই আছে তো, গাওকারের বই থেকে এই যে সফটওয়্যার ইন্টারাপ্টের প্রসেসটাকে একটা অ্যানালজি দিয়ে, একটা এক্সাম্পল অ্যানালজি দিয়ে বুঝিয়েছে ভালো করে বোঝার জন্য। যেটা বলছে, আগেকার দিনের আমাদের ওই মোবাইল ফোন হয়তো এখন বুঝতে পারবে না, ল্যান্ডলাইন ফোন গুলো দেখলে বুঝতে পারবে, ল্যান্ডলাইন ফোনের যদি অপারেশন জানো তাহলে বুঝতে পারবে। বলছে একটা ল্যান্ডলাইন ফোনে যেভাবে কাজ করে, ইন্টারাপ্টটা সেভাবেই করে। সেখানে দেখবে বইতে পড়বে একটু, ওখানে অ্যানালজিটা দেয়া আছে যে তুমি হয়তো বাড়িতে একটা গল্পের বই পড়ছো বা কিছু পড়ছো, সেই সময় তোমার ল্যান্ডলাইন ফোনে তোমার বন্ধু তোমার ফোন করলো কিছু একটা করার কাজ করার জন্য, কিছু একটা কাজ করার জন্য, কি করবে? সেই প্রসেসটা কি হবে? সেম প্রসেস হচ্ছে ইন্টারাপশন প্রসেস। সেটা কি কি হয় প্রথমে? বলছে তুমি বই পড়ছো, তোমাকে ল্যান্ডলাইনে কেউ ফোন করলো কিছু একটা করার জন্য, কি প্রসেসটা হবে? প্রথম কথা হচ্ছে, তোমার বন্ধু তোমাকে ফোন করলো, তোমার ল্যান্ডলাইন ফোন দেখে দিল, তোমার যদি হ্যান্ডসেটটা যদি তোলা থাকে, কেউ ফোন করতে পারবে? তুমি রিং শুনতে পাবে?
না স্যার।
তার মানে কি তুমি হ্যান্ডসেটটা তুলে রেখেছো মানে ইউ আর পুটিং ইউর ফোন ইন দ্য ডিসেবল স্টেট সো দ্যাট নোবডি ক্যান ইন্টারাপ্ট ইউ কল ইউ। সেই জন্যই বলছে তাহলে কল করতে গেলে তোমাকে ওই ফোনটা সবসময় কি থাকতে হবে, ল্যান্ডফোনটা এনেবল থাকতে হবে। সেই জন্যই বলছে মেন ইন্টারাপ্টের ক্ষেত্রেও ভাবো, প্রথমে বলছে যে মেন প্রোগ্রামে তোমাকে ইআই ইনস্ট্রাকশনটা এক্সিকিউট করতেই হবে সো দ্যাট ইউ আর পুটিং দ্য ইনস্ট্রাকশন এনেবল মেকানিজম অন, যাতে ইন্টারাপ্ট কেউ করতে পারে সেটাকে ফ্যাসিলিটিটা দিয়ে রাখতে হবে। তারপর তোমাকে কেউ ফোন করলো, রিং হলো, মানে তুমি ওখানে আইএনটি অ্যাক্টিভে 1 পাঠালে, কেউ ইন্টারাপ্ট করতে চাইলো, তখন তুমি কি করবে? রিং হয়েছে মানে সামবডি, তুমি সেই রিংটা কি করো, ধরতেও পারো নাও পারো। কলটা ধরতে গেলে তুমি কি করবে, হ্যান্ডসেটটা তুলবে। ওখানেও তাই, যে ইন্টারাপ্টিং এ কেউ কল 1 পাঠালো, প্রসেসর যদি গ্র্যান্ড করে তো কি করবে, আইএনটি এ বার পিনে 0 পাঠিয়ে বুঝে গেল যে এটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করেছে, বা তোমার উল্টো দিকে যে আছে ফোনটা তুললেই বুঝে গেল যে তুমি ওর ফোনটা রিসিভ করেছো। এবার বলো, সে যদি বললো যে তোমাকে, হয়তো তুমি গল্পের বই পড়ছিলে, তোমাকে বললো যে তোমার রুমমেট বললো যে তুমি জানালাটা বন্ধ করে আসো, ঘরে বৃষ্টি আসছে, তুমি কি করবে? সাধারণ প্র্যাকটিস হচ্ছে যে আমি যদি কোনো একটা বই পড়ি, আমি ওখানে কি করব, ওখানে একটা বুক মার্ক দিয়ে, যাতে আমি এসে আবার ওই জায়গা থেকে পড়তে পারি, একটা বুক মার্ক দিয়ে আমি জানালাটা বন্ধ করতে যাব। সেম থিং হিয়ার, তোমাকে কেউ একজন ইন্টারাপ্ট করেছে, তখন তোমাকে বললো যে ইন্টারাপ্ট করেছে মানে কি, প্রসেসর উইল স্টপ ইট কারেন্ট অ্যাক্টিভিটি, আমি যেটা বললাম তুমিও তাই করলে। ফোনটা যে রিসিভ করতে গেলে তুমি তোমার প্রেজেন্ট অ্যাক্টিভিটি বই পড়ছিল ওটাকে ক্লোজ করলে, ক্লোজ করে ইট উইল এন্টার ইনটু দ্য সাবরুটিন। ইন্টারাপ্টের ক্ষেত্রে আইএসআর এ যাবে, তুমিও কি করবে, তোমার বন্ধু যেটা বললো যে জানালাটা ধরো বন্ধ করতে, তুমি বন্ধ করতে যাবে, কিন্তু যাওয়ার আগে, সার্ভিস রুটিনে যাওয়ার আগে কি করে, ওই রিটার্ন অ্যাড্রেসটাও স্ট্যাকে স্টোর করে রেখে যায়। এখানেও তাই, তুমি বুকমার্ক দিয়ে গেলে বইয়েতে জানালাটা বন্ধ করতে যাওয়ার আগে। এবার দেখো, তুমি যেই ফোনটা ধরলে, ল্যান্ড ফোনের কথা কেন আমি বললাম, কারণ তুমি যেই ফোনটা ওকে ধরে তুলে রেখেছো, তখন কি দ্বিতীয় কেউ তোমাকে আর কল করতে পারবে ওই ল্যান্ডলাইনে? পারবে?
না স্যার। না।
পারবে না। সেম থিং, তুমি যখন আইএসআর এ গেলে, তখন automatically this interrupt enable flip-flop is kept into the disable so that nobody can interrupt unless you kept your phone again in that place. Same thing. এবং তোমার বন্ধু যে ফোন করলো, তুমি যতক্ষণ না জানালাটা বন্ধ করে ফোনটাকে আবার রাখলে, ততক্ষণ কিন্তু কেউ তোমার ফোন কল করতে পারবে না। তার মানে কি, তুমি যখন ওই সেকেন্ড কাজটা, মেন কাজ বন্ধ করে অন্য কাজ করছো, তখন তুমি অটোমেটিক্যালি ফোনটা ডিসেবল হয়ে গেছে। সেখানেও তাই, আইএসআর যখন এন্টার করছে, বাই ডিফল্ট ও কি হচ্ছে, পিআইটা অ্যাক্টিভেট হয়ে গেছে। এবার তুমি জানালা বন্ধ করে কি করবে, ফোনটাকে আবার রেখে দেবে, মানে তুমি ফোনটাকে আবার কি করলে, এনাবল করে রাখলে, যাতে এবার নাও এনিবডি ক্যান কল। এখানেও তাই, আইএসআরটা কমপ্লিট হওয়ার পর লাস্ট ইনস্ট্রাকশনটা তোমাকে দিতে বলছে ইআই, মানে কি ইন্টারাপশন এনাবল ফ্লিপফ্লপটাকে আবার অন করে ইউ কাম ব্যাক টু দ্য মেইন প্রোগ্রাম ইন দ্য এক্সাক্ট লোকেশন টেকিং দ্য রিটার্ন অ্যাড্রেস ফ্রম দ্য স্ট্যাক। তুমিও তাই, ফোনটাকে রেখে এখানে যেখানে বুকমার্ক দিয়ে রেখে দিলে, সেখান থেকে ইউ ক্যান এগেইন স্টার্ট রিডিং। এখন তুমি যে এগেইন স্টার্ট রিডিং মানে তুমি আবার পুরোনো জায়গায় ফিরে এলে, পুরোনো প্রোগ্রামে ফিরে এলে, মানে নাও এনিবডি ক্যান এগেইন ইন্টারাক্ট। কেন, তুমি ওই ইআই করে সাবরুটিন থেকে ফিরে এসছো। এটার সঙ্গে অ্যানালজি মানে দেওয়া আছে, তুমি বইয়ে পড়ে নিও। ঠিক আছে, আজকে এখানে স্টপ
আচ্ছা
করছি।
স্যার,
নেক্সট
হ্যালো।
ক্লাস। হ্যাঁ বলো।
হ্যাঁ
বলো
স্যার,
বলো।
বলছি যে এই যে মাঝখানটাতে স্যার ওদিনকার যে আপনি একটা প্রোগ্রাম লেখাচ্ছিলেন ডিভাইডের, ওখানে আমাদের এরকম একটা প্রসেস এসেছিল যে মানে জিরো দিয়ে ডিভাইডার হচ্ছে না, তো সেটা কি
হুম।
ইন্টারাপ্ট হবে স্যার? মানে সেখান থেকে তাহলে কোথায় যাবে যদি ওটা যদি না চলে? কেন কি এখানে তো আমি প্রিন্টএফ বা হচ্ছে ওরকম স্ক্যানএফ মানে লিখতে তো পারি না, এটা তো অ্যাসেম্বলি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ,
হ্যাঁ,
তো কি করবো স্যার ওই টাইমটাতে?
না না, বুঝলাম না এটা। এর সঙ্গে ইন্টারাপ্টের কি সম্পর্ক কাস্টমার?
স্যার মানে ডিভাইড তো আর হবে না জিরো দিয়ে, তাহলে ওই টাইমটাতে কি করবে? মানে কিছু
না না,
মেসেজ
জিরো
দেবে?
দিয়ে ডিভাইড হবে না, ওটা তো স্টপ হয়ে যাবে, স্টপ করে দেবে তুমি।
মানে আর
তুমি যদি
চলবেই না
কখনো
তাহলে?
হ্যাঁ, ওখানে তো প্রোগ্রামে যদি তুমি একটা ডিভিশন প্রোগ্রাম লেখো, সেখানে যদি কখনো ডিভাইড বাই জিরো অ্যারাইজ করে, তাহলে ওটা তোমাকে কম্পেয়ার করে চেক করতে হবে যে ওটা জিরো কিনা। যদি জিরো হয়ে যায়, ডিভিশন নট পসিবল, তোমাকে স্টপ করে দিতে হবে প্রোগ্রাম। ইউ ডাইরেক্টলি গো টু দ্য হল্ট if you find this zero divisible by zero situation arise. ইন্টারাপ্ট এই জিনিস এই সিচুয়েশনে করে না, ইন্টারাপ্ট করে কোনো এক্সটার্নাল ডিভাইসে, কোনো এক্সটার্নাল সিস্টেমে কোনো এমার্জেন্সি অ্যারাইজ করতে, তখন আমি ইন্টারাপ্ট করব এক্সটার্নালি, ফ্রম এক্সটার্নালি, নট ইনসাইড দ্য প্রোগ্রাম। কারণ ইনসাইডে প্রোগ্রাম, কারণ আমি যখন ইনসাইডে প্রোগ্রাম লিখছি, প্রোগ্রামের মধ্যে তো আমার ইন্টারাপ্ট করার দরকার নেই, কারণ আমি তো ওখানে জানি আমার কখন কি অ্যারাইজ করবে, আমার ইনস্ট্রাকচার আছে। কিন্তু কেন ইন্টারাপ্ট করা হয় ফর এক্সটার্নাল অ্যাবনর্মালিটি, বিকজ এই অ্যাবনর্মালিটিটা কখন অ্যারাইজ করবে আমি তো জানি না, এটা কোনো ফিক্স টাইম নেই। আমার কখন ফায়ার হবে আমি কি জানি? জানি না। তাহলে আমি কি ইন্টারাপ্ট যখন একটা ফিক্স টাইমে করতে পারবো যে আমার এই সময় ফায়ার আসবে? যদি আমি জানতাম যে আমার এই এখন ফায়ার আসবে, তাহলে আমি RST5 ইনস্ট্রাকশনটাকে এত ওই হার্ডওয়্যার দিয়ে জেনারেটই করতাম না, আমি ডাইরেক্ট প্রোগ্রামের মধ্যে RST5 লিখে দিতাম। কিন্তু সেটা লেখা যাচ্ছে না, তার কারণ আমি জানি না যে আমার এই অ্যাবনর্মালিটিটা কখন অ্যারাইজ করবে। যখন অ্যারাইজ করবে তখনই INTR যাবে, তখনই এই কোডটা জেনারেট করে প্রসেসরের কাছে যাবে। এই জন্য ইন্টারাপ্ট করে। হ্যাঁ,
ওকে স্যার।
আর কিছু থাকলেও ঠিক আছে। নেক্সট ক্লাস উইল ডিসকাস দ্য হার্ডওয়্যার ইন্টারাপ্ট। সেখানেও এরকম কিছু দেখতে হবে, কিছু ফেসিলিটি আছে। ইন্টারাপ্ট করেছো বা somebody has interrupted, send a request but you can stop it, that facility is there. So that we will discuss in the next class, how processor, the process of accepting the hardware interrupt. Okay.